This video is sponsored by Wing Technology, your ultimate flight sim hardware solution.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. We're cracking on with a brand new navigation package for you. This is all about, if you like, old school manual navigation, applying it to DCS, assuming you don't want to use your Hornet where everything's done for you with your time and target and your INS and your GPS. How are you going to do it in your Warbird? How are you going to do it in your F5 Tiger? How are you going to do it in your MiG-21? We've got the pleasure of having with us Ali, who was a professional RAF Tornado GR1 pilot, and this stuff for him is his bread and butter. Say hello, Ali.
Hello, everybody.
We've also got Artie, who not a professional Tornado pilot, but you know, aviation is in his blood, and he knows 10 times more than me. Hello, Artie.
Hi guys.
2 weeks ago we had these chaps on and they explained the basis of this navigation, and we wrapped that package up with the title of Visual VFR Wind Corrected Dead Reckoning. That's the fancy title, and what we did is we went through a series of waypoints. In fact, it was actually this mission here. We started at waypoint or turn point 1, turn point 2, turn point 3, and then back to base, and we had timed legs and we had wind correction and all that stuff, and that was great. But that wouldn't actually apply very well to a proper mission, because in a real mission, if you're going to go and lay some bombs down, if you're going to go and meet up with something in an escort, it's all about time, as in not just how long it's taken to do leg 1 and leg 2. It's about actual absolute Zulu time meeting up with someone, and so we're applying an extra factor, time. And what we're going to be doing today is a similar or same path as last time, but as an actual RAF pilot would do a mission with an IP, an initial point, with a target, and with a ToT, time on target. We have to fly this course with all the factors and the wind corrections that we're going to do, and have our bombs impact a certain point, a bridge in this case, at exactly the right time. So the first thing is, here is the mission. And the mission tells us locations of the waypoints, the IP, the target. It tells us when we want to be on the target. It tells us pre-wind corrected leg times and headings to fly on. And this would be, in a real mission, created, what, months, weeks ahead, Ali?
Typical Operation Alpha, it was all sitting in a safe waiting for the balloon to go up.
Right, so this is sitting in the safe. It's created by some very smart people. Then when it actually comes to the pilot is going to have these on knee boards, and these are knee boards. We'll have them in our knee boards in our RAF P-47 or whatever we're going to fly today, but we will have to make corrections on the fly. For instance, wind correction. We only know what the wind's going to be like on the day. So on the day when we're flying this mission, we're going to have to make our ad hoc wind corrections, and we'll talk about that and the calculations that we do to make that as we go. As well as wind corrections, to add the extra factor in today, is the ToT corrections. If we're flying behind the ToT by 20 seconds, well, that's no good, because in real life you've got 4 RAF Tornadoes going in to bomb this target, and if you're 20 seconds out, the guy in front of you is going to hit you with his bombs. So it's incredibly important that we get a lower ToT error as possible. Again, you're in a modern jet, in a Hornet, it does this all for you, but
And let's remember also that your fancy systems in your F-18 or whatever may be being interfered with, jammed, whatever, by the enemy.
Great example. And the one thing we talked about last time is you can have your F-35 or whatever, and it will do all this for you, which is wonderful. But just like Artie says, if someone jams that GPS system, which is a likely thing to happen, or you know, something else happens, you're back to this. And this has to be trained for all modern Air Force pilots around the world. It's something you have to be able to know how to do. Let's quickly talk about the course, the mission. We're going to take off from Krasnodar here, airfield, and we're going to get to turning point 1. You could call it waypoint 1 here. At 1.1 we have visual markers, as we talked about last time. It's going to be vertical extent, and it's going to be a tower. We're then going to fly by the plan pre-corrections of 147 heading. If you want to know about true magnetic and all that kind of stuff, go back to the previous video. We're now simplifying, because this is how a real RAF pilot's going to do this. 5 minutes and 25. You can see the guys, Bendy I suppose is getting the credit for this, is that right guys?
Yep.
Who's done a really great job, much better than I could ever do, with drawing this plan out, including the minute markers, which we're going to find out today are indispensable. You cannot do without them. We're getting to turn point 2, which is going to be Is that funneling feature or a vertical extent?
There's a bend in the river and there's a little oil tower as well, so it's a bit of both.
Then our leg 2 is going to be, we're going to head for 277 and a leg time of 12. These are absolute leg times.
It's not a leg time, it's just that, you know, at the end of the leg, the clock will say 12 minutes 40, or stopwatch.
Yep. my bad. Yeah, so the leg time will be that there minus that in terms of minutes and seconds. So it's worked slightly different to how we did it last time, but that's fine. So it's going to take that long, and then from there to there is going to take that long in an ideal world. This is going to be an IP. An IP is going to have our feature, which is going to be our dog's bollock, we call it, and that is that little piece of the lake that sticks out there. As well as that, on this leg, note that we've made it parallel. This is a realistic feature of a mission. We've made it parallel, slightly offset to this railway track here. You know, looking at it here is easy. Doing this in real life is almost impossible. So to have a parallel feature like that railway is going to help us out massively. Okay, guys? And we've got our IP, which is going to be so many minutes/seconds before the target, and that's going to be that bit of sticking out lake there. Then we're going to fly for that minus that time there, in theory, at 274 to get to the bridge, to bomb the bridge. And then after the bridge, we are going to head back to this waypoint 3, which is going to be the threshold of the runway. It was 058, and we've got these absolute times here. The target is the bridge. The weapons, irrelevant. Let's not worry about weapons now. But interestingly, Ali was saying that the time on target is going to be when the bomb hits the target. Is that right?
Correct. Obviously, if you're low level, you're going to use a high drag bomb, so the bomb hits about 3 seconds after you've overflown the target.
And that's important. Wind. Now, real life, none of this works. Real life, you have to apply on the fly for wind. And so we've got the wind, and we've made it an approximate of 18 knots, and it's heading from 180 degrees. Is that right, guys?
That's correct. And just remember, last time when we flew the route, Cap, there was all those chimneys with lots of smoke coming out. Gave you a really good clue what the wind was like. And
that's really important. That's exactly the kind of thing a real pilot's looking out for, as you're going to see in this mission. You need to know on each leg which vector your wind's coming from, so you can make your corrections, okay? Next, guys, is max drift. This is a really important coefficient, I think is the right word for it. And at the moment, it's 6 degrees. This is going to be used for calculating wind correction. And we came to 6 degrees, as you'll see later, by taking the average wind speed of 18 knots and dividing by 3 miles per minute, which is what we're going to be traveling at, and that's because of our planned speed down here, which is a denominator of 60. Because we're traveling at 180 knots, we're covering 3 nautical miles per minute. Therefore, our max drift angle is 18 knots divided by 3 nautical miles per minute equals 6 degrees maximum correction. Are you happy with that, guys?
Yes.
I just realised I should have read this kneeboard rather than blagging it beforehand. But again, we've got the features written down properly by the guys here and our timings. Just some basic legends of the map here. A waypoint is a circle, and initial point is the square. The target is the triangle, and we've got the distance flown by minute there. And you happy that this is real RAF/Air Force doctrine, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
The important thing, Cap, is don't write anything inside the circle, the square, or the triangle, because you want to be able to see every feature on the map. You don't want to hide anything.
And regardless of what kind of maps we would be using, we explained that in the last video, so we won't go over that again, guys. The next thing we're going to do is go into our wind correction. This is something we're going to have to do on the fly while flying the aircraft, but we need to explain it for you. We're going to have a quick look at our HAT heading, airspeed, time. This is something we're going to do not just at every turn point, but at various points to, if you like, recalibrate, make sure we're flying correctly. We've got a lovely little worksheet there. I'm not going to use this directly, but I'm going to link it in the video description, and you can go and use that if you want. Next, this is a controlled example. We've set the wind heading from 180 at 18 knots. I've got to go and do the calculations, but we've got some cheated. We've worked it out ahead of time in this case, so we're going to explain it to you guys. If I've got time, can I go through a couple of calculations here, Ali, just to show how we got them?
Go for it.
So this is all about using the time on target brief here. Heading correction and airspeed correction. From turn point 1, waypoint 1 to turn point 2. Let's call this leg 1. This is called leg 1. We are to fly by the plan of 147 and it's going to be for 5 minutes and 25. But we know we're flying at 180 knots throughout this, and we've got 18 knots of wind coming from 180. So we need to calculate a revised heading and a revised airspeed to compensate for that wind so that we stay on the original plan. Here is our heading correction chart. So we're heading this direction here, 147. The wind is coming this direction here. So the difference between the way we're heading and the way that the wind is coming in is going to be, in this case, 180 degrees minus 147 equals about 33 or something like that. We round up to the nearest 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, or 60 and above. That's just how this works. So in this case, the closest we've got is 30 degrees. That means we're going to apply half. Here is the corresponding amount of maximum wind drift. So 6 degrees divided by 2 to half gives us an actual correction of 3 degrees, and we're always going to correct into the wind. You want to correct for something, you go into the wind. It's just how it is. So the wind is coming from the right. It's coming where my cursor is coming along here. We want to turn right, so we're going to add clockwise 3 degrees to our heading. 147 added 3 degrees equals 150. So with our wind correction in this case, we're going to fly 150. Airspeed we've also got to correct for, so a little bit different, a new little pie chart here. With airspeed correction, we will always work from a beam instead of, if you like, the longitudinal axis of the aircraft. So if a beam our aircraft is like that, where I'm drawing there, and the wind is coming that direction there, again, you could work this out mathematically or not, but we can tell you that in this case, the differential is going to be 60 degrees, or 60 and above. You happy with that, Ali?
Exactly. It's just, you're getting a rough, in your brain. What does it look like? Yeah, it's more than 60. 60's all.
I haven't actually tried this, but you could, if you were a mathematics guy, do something like 147 plus 90 for a B minus 180 or something like that, and prove that to yourself. But in this case, just a quick look at the sheet will tell you that it's going to be 60 or above. Okay, guys? So, if that's true, then we're going to apply all of the speed correction. And we know the speed of the wind is 80 knots average. So times 1 in this case, we're applying all of it, is 80 knots. We're going to apply 18 knots of correction. Now, we don't like flying 18 knots. It's impossible to fly 18 knots. No one can fly 18 knots. What they can fly is 20 knots, something you realistically do. And then, because we are flying into the wind, obviously you've got to add that to your speed. No longer are we flying at the base 180. On this leg, we're flying at 200 knots. So that's showing a calculation that you have to do in your head, in your hatch check, just before, if you like, you get to that turn point. We're going to be flying, and as it says here, 150 degrees and 200 knots to make it an actual 147 and 5 minutes and 25. So that is how we will do the wind correction for that leg 1. Are you happy with that, Ali?
Yeah, that's perfect.
And that we're going to apply the same for each leg 1, 2, 3, 4 of this mission. And this is one of the many reasons why I could have never been a real pilot, because you've got to be really good at quick, not necessarily complicated maths, is it, Ali? It's not complicated, but it's quick, that plus that divided by that, there, in your head when you're flying.
And it also involves being able to look out of the cockpit and recognise the situation, looking out, and you can see the smoke from chimneys and things like that, which are helping you work out where the wind really is coming from.
When I was talking to Ali last time, he was saying about people that got into the RAF were the guys that had the ability to go and sit and A, multitask, and B, do that quick stuff. I could never have done that. I can do one task at a time, as you're about to see. Things go horrendous, and it takes me a long time to sit and figure about it. It's a different brain I've got to Ali and Artie. That's interesting. Again, you can train and whatnot, but yeah. Next is time on target. One way or another, with those extra winds and stuff, and all the possible errors that I could do in flying, and there will be errors because I'm not a robot, we've still got to get those bombs on target at. Well, I can tell you what, we're going to start the mission at and it always works on Zulu, doesn't it, these missions, Ali? Why is that, by the way?
Just that then you don't have to worry about getting things wrong. You have your clock set to Zulu, and everybody works in the PBF. There's a big clock that says Zulu. At the brief in the morning, everybody synchronises their watches all on the same time. Zulu.
Right. Zulu, GMT, whatever you want to call it, and in DCS, you go and fly your Hornet, you go and fly your Harrier, it will always show the Zulu time. And this is why, because then we don't have the worry that, well, what if that guy's working Zulu, and what if that guy's working Caucasus time, Georgia time, or whatever, We're going to roll, is important. We're going to start rolling our aircraft at Zulu, 6 hours and 2 minutes. And our bombs, as you will find out later, want to be on target at Zulu, 6 hours and 20 minutes. That's in theory, 18 minutes after we roll. And we're going to hack our stopwatch. Hack, essentially, could I say that's another thing of just starting the stopwatch? Referencing the stopwatch?
Start it. Yep, that's it, start it.
Starting the stopwatch at 6 hours, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Now,
well, it's a time of 06, 04 and 50 seconds.
So that's an actual absolute UTC time, isn't it? It's not what the stopwatch shows. The stopwatch will show 0 when you hack that, right?
Yeah, all the stopwatch is going to do is reflect the minute marks on the chart.
Yeah, so if our stopwatch is hacked, it starts at absolute 6 hours, 4 minutes and 50. And you can see to our chart here, the bombs are on target at 15 minutes and 10 seconds. Well, 15 minutes and 10 seconds plus 6 hours, 4 minutes and 50 seconds is 6 hours and 20. Now, one thing that I found confusing, and let me just paint the picture for you, is I thought we should hack the stopwatch when we get to waypoint 1, because that's when we start the journey. It's when we start the waypoint. That's not right, and it requires this different way of thinking. We hack the stopwatch in regards to absolute time, not when I get to somewhere. Okay, because chances are, Ali, I'm not going to get to that first waypoint turn point at exactly 6 hours, 4 minutes and 50 seconds, am I?
Exactly correct, but we've got to have a technique to sort that error out.
Okay, so let's say in this example I'm working, I'm 10 seconds behind, so that means 10 seconds before I get to waypoint 1 is when the absolute time is UTC, 6 hours, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. That's when I bang the stopwatch. The stopwatch is going to start counting there. And at that point, because I am 10 seconds behind, I'm 10 seconds before I get to waypoint 1, we would say that I would have a time on target error of 10 seconds, Ali.
Yeah, exactly. Try and stick to the words early and late.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's
behind. Early and late.
I'm late, so I'm late, aren't I? Because I haven't made it to the waypoint yet.
So if you're late, you've got to go quicker, haven't you?
That's exactly right. So because I'm late, there's an error of 10 seconds. I've got to make that up, and this is where the extra calculation comes in, if you like. So once you've done your hack, once you've done your wind corrections, if you like, we need to then add additional corrections to reduce that error of 10 seconds in this example down to 0 to make sure our bombs hit the target and we don't blow ourselves up with our friends' bombs. So we have to look at a new calculation, and a new calculation is thus. Time correction. Now, because we are going to be flying at 180 knots ground speed, we've got some easy calculations here, Ali. So if we are 10 seconds late, all we need to do to correct for that is to fly 10 knots faster, so add 10 knots for 3 minutes, and that will make that correction, yeah?
Correct, and the 3 minutes is your ground speed in nautical miles per minute.
Roger. Yeah, again, so you don't have to do 180, you could do 240 knots, 300 knots and so on, but a slightly different bit of maths there. The way I've rounded that up in my mind here is seconds, the amount of seconds of ToT error equals plus or minus, so subtract or add knots divided by 3 minutes. So if we're 20 seconds early, then you're going to reduce your speed by 20 knots. Or a way you could do this is to reduce your speed by 20 knots for 3 minutes, and that will correct your time on target error. Now, how do you know when you've corrected your time on target error? Essentially, I would say there are two ways. Let's see if Ali agrees with this. But the first way is once you get to your turn point, you will automatically know how much error you've got in the bank. You will know your ToT error. But also, and more importantly, the reason for having these minute markers here, especially if they're lined up with features with the terrain, you can correct on the fly during a leg, can't you, Ali? So you can say if you were indeed 10 seconds late, like I would be, and I got to the 4 minute marker here, and you could know if your stopwatch said what your deviation from 4 minutes was while crossing this visual feature here, you know your ToT error there, couldn't you?
Yeah, so basically you apply the time early late correction when you start that leg, when you first realise you've got an error. You do your 3 minutes, and then the next check is at 4 minutes. You go, right, I should be on time. Am I on time? And that gives you your next error in time.
So that is my roundup of what we're actually doing here, what's different from last time. Sorry that's taken half an hour, but the majority of you out there are not RAF pilots. You're more like me, the layman, and you need to sit and really understand why you're doing all this stuff. And so that's why I've tried to go into the nuts and bolts of everything there. So just a couple more things. Remember that this is a bit more accurate. This is a real RAF mission that we're flying here. We have to take a couple of more things into account. For instance, assuming all turns are 60-degree bank. So when planning that mission, if you remember, and I apologise, I didn't get the sheet ready, the picture, but when they're actually planning and drawing on these maps, they had a little, what was it called? The curve?
It's just a plotter. Yeah, plotter.
You would actually plot the radius of the turns, because they would be part of these kind of these minute markers, okay? And in ours, we've plotted the radius sorry, I forget the actual radius in miles, but it means that our aircraft has to fly at 60-degree banks. And if you can imagine me trying to get that right, then but 60-degree banks. Anything you want to explain to that and the importance of that, Ali, about getting the radius of the turn right and how it applies to the bank of the aircraft at a certain speed and so on?
Yeah, obviously, if you don't turn at the right or plan the right radius, and you're doing 540 knots, and you've got a 5 mile radius, and you just put a leg from turning point to turning point, and you've got a 90-degree turn, you're going to start 5 miles off track, aren't you?
Right, exactly.
See, the one point I would make is, as you fly this, you must expect there to be errors.
Yep.
Things will not happen by the numbers as you expect here, so you will be correcting as you go. I mean, a nice example here on DCS is the way you set winds in a mission. You set a surface wind, and DCS then calculates the wind up to the next altitude, which is, I think, is 1,200 feet, and it will. So in this mission, you'll have 12 knots on the ground. It'll probably be giving you 25 knots at 1,200 feet.
Right.
So if you vary your altitude,
which I will,
you won't get exactly 18 knots. 18 knots is probably somewhere around between 400, 500 feet, but you're going to be varying. So your actual wind speed will be changing. And so as a result, that is going to introduce error both in your heading, on your track, and in your airspeed, which you will be correcting using these techniques.
Great. So I can't fly at a perfect 200 feet or however it work out. I'm going to vary. So the wind speed that I'm actually encountering is going to vary. And there's errors there.
Yeah, just remember, we're going to sort any kind of drift errors out by turning and flying over the waypoints or any recognizable feature along the route. We're going to sort all the timing problems out by speed, faster or slower. So when you see something, fly to it. If you see a feature and it gives you a time, that's the point you can then do something about it. So you've got to be very proactive at managing your route and looking out for the baddie who's going to shoot you at the same time.
Sod being an RAF pilot. Okay, guys, let's get in the air. Okay, welcome to the cockpit. The first thing we're going to do is talk about the instrumentation that we're going to be using very quickly. So we've got our E2B magnetic compass there. That's going to be essentially our master compass that we will calibrate to. Remember, an E2P doesn't work until we're completely straight, level, and coordinated and whatnot. For that reason, we're actually going to be reading from the DG, the directional gyro, which is going to be here. Now, we have to calibrate the directional gyro, and this is something that all planes had to do really until the 80s, to the E2B. We'll do that whenever we get a chance, especially before we get to the first turn point or the first waypoint. Now, what we've learned is really important, so I'm going to try and really slow down and drill this in. What I taught in my first videos when we were looking at Dead Reckoning, I taught you guys to calibrate the directional gyro to the E2B when you were down on the ground and idle like this. It turns out that's wrong. I was just wrong. I'm learning about this as I teach it. What we've actually got to do is take off and get to the rough engine RPM, engine power that you're going to be for the cruise, for the mission, and then calibrate the DD to the E2B. Now, the reason is, well, I don't fully understand the physics of it, but for some reason, the RPM of the engine, and it's not just this plane, it'll be all warbirds, the RPM of the engine affects the working of the gyro. Any idea why that actually is RT in physics terms?
You've got a couple of reasons for that. One is the amount of power going through the system. The electrical power going through the system is varying depending on the speed of the engine, the amount of power being generated, etc. The second reason is you have got a large chunk of metal rotating in front of you in a magnetic field, and it's doing all sorts of things in terms of the magnetism and what have you that's going on here. So you need to get to a steady state to actually set things.
Right, so that's
in some ways it's similar to the idea of a binnacle on a ship, where where in that case they've got large metal balls to actually counteract the magnetic effect of the actual ship itself. Well, here you haven't got them, but you can adjust the gyro to suit, to take some of the error out. So
in a realistic mission, as a realistic pilot, it would be normal to recalibrate this DG, I guess, whenever you could, or recheck it at least. It's calibration.
Absolutely, yes.
After every turn, any kind of G, you have to check your DG. And remember, even your E2 compass does not tell you exactly the correct heading on every. So when you change direction, so it might be perfect on north. You point south, and it says south, but doesn't mean it says that south. It could be a couple of degrees out, and that's obviously the limitations of an E2 with a lump of metal around you.
Well, this
is why you're looking outside the window as well. I mean, you're actually using your eyes to tell you where you are and where you are on track.
Roger, guys, and what this has taught me is why the Buccaneer had a rear seat and navigator, why the Tornado had a rear seat and navigator. But because before GPS, this is a bloody art form. I can tell you, that's what this is. Right, so to reiterate, do not calibrate the DG on the ground. It's pointless. As soon as you rev your engine up, it's going to change. get to the rough engine state within, you know, a few RPMs, then do it. Okay, guys, thank you for that. That was a lesson hard learned. So DG is our main way of navigating here in terms of our heading. We've got our cheat bar down here. This is just going to help us to you know, just explain everything to you. We've got the cheat altitude, which is just really quick reference, MSL, feet, the IAS here, and that's because to do the conversions, we'd have to to do the calculations as we go, we'd have to convert from miles per hour to knots with regards to nautical miles, and that's just too much calculation. So we're going to cheat here and just get our IAS here in knots and just ignore the speedo there. Okay, we've also got a heading here. Now note this is true, not magnetic, and so it has absolutely no relevance to, in a sense, what we're doing here. So we're going to ignore the true heading there. And we've got the clock here. We're going to be taking off, remember, at Zulu 06 0200, 2 minutes past 6. It is currently local 1000 hours. Of course, the Caucasus is Zulu +4. We'll be hacking our watch to 060450, and if everything goes right, we'll be time on target at absolute Zulu 062000. Guys, anything else before we get on with it? 20 seconds till roll. 10 seconds till roll. Attention begins. Adjust my seat slightly to help see stuff. Okay, we're off. Let's go. Gonna get up, planning ahead. Gonna get airborne. We're gonna get settled. We're gonna calibrate our DG. We're then gonna look at our hat. Okay, let's get the rear up. She's flying. Not best, but she'll do. Gear up. Right, next, rudder coordination. Let's get that done. Trim. Let's get that done. Airspeed. Let's go roughly to 180. Okay, I can start thinking about nice crosswind. Start thinking about setting the gyro now. I've got buttons selected to do it, so I don't have to worry about E2B still settling, so I'm just going to get that done. I can see turn point 1. I'm at right speed now, and I'm at cruise power. Hang on, controller's not working. There we go. There we go. See the tower. Recalibrate. Speed's fine. Right. E2B is telling me 090. Oh, that's still slipping. So let's let that finish. Down here. Calibrating. 085. 081. 080. I think that's going to do us, guys. Right, DG calibrated for this leg.
You've got just under a minute till you be hacking the wall.
Roger. That feels about right. Okay, rudder is coordinated. DG is set as best I can at the moment. I'm going to keep an eye on it. Trim is set. Right, going to the right leg. Got to get our hat done. So, we've got base 147 degrees, and so we've got a 147. We've got a variation in the wind of about 30 degrees, which is going to be a modifier of a half of max drift. So that's 6 times 0.5 is 3 degrees. And we're going to turn into the wind, so add 147. 150 we're going to be going at a speed of abeam over 60 degrees. So that means a full drift of 18 knots. So that's going to be adds because we're into the wind. So that's going to be 198, 200 knots.
Correct.
Turn.
Stop.
Shit! Did I stop it? Did I start it in time? Yes, I did. I've got it. Okay, guys, we're all good. We're about 3 seconds out in the hack, but I think that's good enough. Got to get to 150. There it is. Speed should be 200. I got there, Artie. Was that right?
Correct.
Right, we can do minute checks of 2 minutes just beyond the coast. So I'm on 150 correctly, which I should be. I'm on 200 knots, which is just fine. I'm not too high. Remember, IAS equals true roughly at this altitude, so we're all good in terms of speed conversion. Rudder needs coordinating. And we're slipping left. Oops, am I going the right way? No, I'm going the wrong way. Turn that way. We're all good, guys. We're all good. Right.
Wings level. Wings level. Come on.
Wings level. Hang on, I'm still adjusting slightly. Okay. Okay. Happy with that, guys. I've got time for my next hat. So we've got a base of 2. Where's the goddamn key? There it is. Base of 277 degrees. And I've got a wind coming from the left at over 60 degrees. So it's going to be a full max drift of 6 degrees added on to my minus taken away from my 277 gives us 271 magnetic.
Correct.
Got a shift left. I'll do the speed in a minute because I've got a minute check coming up. 2 minutes about 300 feet into the ocean. Speed is spot on, which is nice for once. Trim is all over the place. I've got to re-trim. There we go. I'm trimmed finally. Okay, guys, we are on the watch. I'm going to do a 2 minute. 3, 2, 1, 2 minute mark. It's about perfect. Do you guys agree? Okay, I know the guys are watching on a stream which has a 20-second delay, valued viewers, so just bear in mind there is a little bit of complication there. Okay, I've got time to work out my hat, my speed for the next run. So, base of 180 knots, a beam less than 15 degrees, or around 15 degrees, which means quarter of max drift, which means 18 divided by 4 is 5, which means 185 are going away from the wind. No, yeah, we're going away from the wind, so minus. So 180 minus 5 knots is 175 knots. 271 at 175
Correct.
Knots. Right.
Correct.
Sounds good to me.
271, 175 knots. Right, we can do a time check as we come to the coast.
Check your altitude.
Woo, thank you. Crashed yesterday for losing SA in a Mirage, going too low. Right, okay guys, you can see why people have navigators now. We're slipping off the course track, so we're getting back on. 3 minutes and 20 on the watch. 3 minutes and 20 on the watch. Let's get back onto 150. I'm going to get a tiny bit of height because I know I'm going to be looking for something, and I need just a little bit of height for looking for it. Mark, 3 minutes and 40. Probably about 500 feet. Oops, we're under speed. Power up. I haven't even thought about checking my DG, which I probably should, I know. But
the waypoint is to your left.
Mark 4 seconds ago, sorry for that. Mark 4 seconds ago. About perfect, guys, as far as I can see. Thank you, RT.
Right, now you know where you're turning.
I see it.
Think about when you do your turn, where you're going to roll out. There's a power line on your right-hand side if you look on the map, isn't there? So, as you roll out your turn, you want a power line about a mile on your right-hand side.
Roger. Okay, I'm going to compensate now. Check speed. Speed's good. And I'm going to double check. 271 for 175. 271 for 175.
Correct.
Okay, and don't forget to call your time as you get to the turn.
Thank you. Yeah, roger. I'm now wait. Mark 4 minutes and 50. Bit fast. Coming off the gas. Checking the coordination. Not coordinated. I'll do a time mark as soon as I basically touch the tower or go in front of the tower. I'm about to start my turn. Coming off the power now because I know I've got to go fast. And we've got... Wait for it. Mark, 5 minutes 23. 5 minutes 23. Looking for my power lines. There they are. Getting to 271 on the DG. Getting down to 175 knots, too slow.
Very good, you would. 2 seconds adrift of ideal time.
That's pretty good. Power on. Okay, we're up to one. Where's the goddamn heading? Oh, I've gone off heading. Hang on. Okay, I'm on speed. Off heading.
What those power lines on your left?
On the left? Are you sure, RT? It shows them on the right.
On the right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. It'll cross over shortly.
Roger. Okay, I'm on speed and I'm now on heading. Once I'm settled, I'm going to do a DG check. For now, I can work on my hat. I've got the visual aid. I've got the tower, so I know all's good. I've got the railway. And there's a train. So I'm on the right track. Plus or minus a few hundred feet. I'm going to do some maths now. Stand by. Looking for leg IP to target. We've got a where is it? There it is. We've got a base of 274. We've got the wind coming from the left again, so it's +6, so it's 60 or above, so it's a full modifier. So it's 6 degrees, and we're going to minus because we're away from the wind. So we're turning left. So there's 268 RT 268.
Correct.
Roger. And let me just make some modifications to get back on course. Speed's perfect. Okay, we're having a speed on the IP to target of 180 base. We're a beam, so less than 15 degrees. So a quarter of wind speed, which is 18 knots, is 5, and we're going to reduce it because we're heading away. So 18. So I'm going to be heading 268 for 175. 268 for 175.
Correct. And if you think about it, you're making a very slight turn to your checked heading on this leg, so obviously your speed is going to stay pretty much the same as it is now.
Roger, so hat's done. I need to get back to speed. I've been over speeding, so you're going to get a ToT error now. I'm crossing over the lines, which it shows on the map I'm doing at 7 minutes. Doing a check on the watch, 7 minutes and 41, so we're slightly out. However, there's a bit of scope for error there. I think I'm off track to the... I'm off track. Going to check the DG. DG is off, but I'm going to let the E2B settle. I'm not happy with it.
Look for the lake on your right hand side.
Oh, good idea. Good idea.
For the time, use that 8 minutes 15 seconds when you cross the bit of river.
Okay, I'll give an 8:15 mark. Just shit, speed. Shit. Wasn't concentrating. 8:15 mark. 8:15 mark. Not that bad. That was about bang on, actually, wasn't it? And the track's not too bad.
You wandered off to the left.
Roger. Yes, I have. Sorry. Yep, I'm getting back. Starting to unravel, guys. We're doing so well.
You're doing fine. Look out the window and see the next lake ahead.
Next lake. So I've got, as long as I get along the left side of that lake, I have a VFR correction. So I'm going to go and get that done now. Speed, I'm back on speed, so time on target should resettle. Also, I've got some pylons on the left and a train. 2 trains. Pretty sure they wouldn't be that close. And that... I'm okay, guys. I'm slightly left of track, I think.
Coming back, what happened, Cap, is you flew about 15 degrees to the left, and that's why you slid to the left. You now look good.
Coming off the power a little because I'm over speeding.
Once you get to the lake, don't forget to turn back onto heading.
Roger. Yeah, will do. Yeah, so I'm making my correction now, aren't I?
Exactly.
So I'm heading along the left end. We'll do a ToT at 10 minutes, which is just coming up to that little peninsula. Nasty drift. I can really feel that wind punching me from the left. Okay, 20 seconds to go, Mark.
Back onto heading.
Turning back onto heading. Back up to speed. Cannot get the speed right. And 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. We're bang on. ToT's. I'm behind. I'm slow. By... Wait for it. I'm slow by 10 seconds.
Right, so just increase the speed by 10 knots, and by the time you get to the IP, you should be pretty much back on time.
Roger, Bulko.
I 185.
Alright, yeah. Got it. Okay, we're under control with the speed again. We've gone above altitude, so we're going to come down a little, come off the gas slightly. Check the DG. DG's good. It's matching the E2B. Pretty much. Can make a small adjustment, I think.
Right, the little railway line just ahead. It curves around in front of you.
Tally.
That'll give you...
Yeah, I've got it. It's an intersection. I see it. And I mark 1050. Mark 1050 as I went over it.
Spot on track.
Okay, I've got to come off speed. I've gone on too fast. Where's the VSI in this thing? There it is. Okay, tally my next VFR point. It's that dog's bollock bit, so I'm going to aim for it. VFR. Speed, I need to speed up a little bit. I'm going to do my, 12-minute check along that little stream on the left.
Yeah.
No, you just need to do it at the turning point. Don't mess around with that too close.
One of the things you've got to train yourself to do is remember to fly your heading on your instruments and looking out the window. But don't, if you fly directly towards your point, you've got to remember you're drifting. So if you fly directly towards it, you're liable to miss it.
Roger. Yeah, that's a good point. Right, speed's good, altitude's good, heading is VFR. So we've just got to worry about ToT now. It's a bit fast. So right at the end of that sticking out bit, I'm going to VFR heading that, and it's going to be 12 minutes and 40. Checking the clock now. Mark 12:10. Double checking my old hat. It's good.
You've got a small grey building, which is your actual turning point.
Over the bonnet. Yep, we've got him. Perfect. Oh, we're bang on track, although that was VFR anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, guys. 12:30.
When you get there, don't forget to turn onto heading.
Roger. And mark 12:40. We're behind by about 5 seconds. 5 seconds behind. So
Okay, just increase. The speed now should be 175.
175
okay?
coming off.
Still on time, but make it 180 if you're a little bit late.
Yes, 180, so 5 knots difference. 1168 D to the DG. DG is pretty much matching the E2B.
Go on and move forward to the next kneeboard page.
Ah, shit, yeah. So I'm going to do my hat while I've got a minute. I'm going to try and keep as stable as I can. So, we're going a completely different direction now. We're going to be going base 058, and the wind's going to be coming from the right. It's going to be coming over 60 degrees, so that's a full modifier. 6, we're turning into the wind right, so 6 plus 058 is 064, Artie. 064?
Correct.
Roger.
Right, focus on the target now. Focus on that point. Get the right knee board up. Get your IP to target knee board up.
Got it.
Back one.
I'm going to funnel down that little peninsula and look for the target. There's a big tower on my right. Does that mean something?
Yeah. That's it. You should be just to the left of that tower.
Yeah, I am. Oh, speed's good. Speed's good. Speed's good. Speed's good. Right, look at the time. Mark 10 past 14. I'm going to do a pop-up because I've got to find that bridge. Watch the speed, watch the speed, watch the speed, watch the speed. Speed's good. Tally bridge, tally bridge. Wow, I was almost perfect. I got 1 degree out, guys. Okay, just got to do the time now. And I've got a marker, 15 marker, as soon as I hit that bit of river.
No. 15 tenor target. There's nothing you can do now about time.
Right, okay, 40 minutes past 14. I'm just going to give you 175 and hope for the best, guys. Just control my speed, and that's all I've got to do. Mark 15 minutes. I'm slow. I'm going full power. Mark 10 past. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bombs away. I'm about 9 seconds behind. I've got to turn now. It was 1064 I found out. A 60 degree bank. I haven't got the speed yet, so I'm just going to go to 180 and hope for the best. Speed doesn't matter, does it?
On your home leg, you just want to get home.
Alright, it's full power. 064. on the DG. I was 9 seconds behind, guys. I don't know how it happened, but too much wiggling, I imagine. There was a lot of wiggling.
Good enough. Good enough.
I didn't get blown up by my guys' Mark 83s.
Exactly. If you deconflicted the weapons, that's what the timing's for.
Hey guys, 064. Let's try and get back to base. We can keep experimenting with some checks because it's good practice.
Next kneeboard.
Done. Check the E2B. My E2B's perfect. Yeah, DG's good. 400 feet.
So you've got a bit of a tailwind, haven't you, Cap? So just slow down a bit.
Or just slowing down. Oh, I completely forgot. Yeah. I haven't done my speed. Let me do my speed. So we've got beam is 30 degrees from the right. Slowing down now. So that is half of 18 knots is 10 knots. 10 knots. We've got a tailwind, so take away 10 knots. 170 it should be.
Correct.
170.
Airspeed 170.
Power up, yeah. I've been going fast, so it's okay. So I'm going to be looking for that bulge of the river on the left. Bulge of the river on the left. I'm pretty confident my heading, although I've just gone off. Let me get back on. Okay, at speed. Ah, where's the goddamn 064? There it is. Okay, on speed, back on heading. Okay, I've got a river to track. Small pop-up just to get a bit of VFR on it. That's the bulge. That's the bulge, boys. Oh, we're on heading. Beautiful. Off the speed, off the power. We're going to do an 18 just past the bulge. An 18-minute check just past the bulge. I think we're going to be fast, but that's okay. I kind of thought that would happen.
Check your wind on those towers in the town ahead. Wind looks pretty good, doesn't it?
There it is. That's a 30 degrees off the beam. And not ready to mark yet. Just past the bulge. Just past the bulge. Just past the bulge. And 1746. We're 14 seconds fast. So we're going to come off the power. 155 for 3 minutes. 155 for 3 minutes.
Will you check your heading as well?
Heading shit. Good call. One way, Cap, you twat. Don't worry, boys. We'll get it back. We're going to make a slight overcompensation to counter for that. I'm at 155 for 3 minutes. At 060. Altitude's too low. At 155. Now heading 060. Going to be crossing over a road at 19 minutes. At 19 minutes. Okay, heading back to 064. Okay, heading good. E2B, perfect. IAS, good. Looking for a road. Checking around for bandits. I haven't had time to check around for any bandits. There we go. Where's that road, sir? Slowing down, too fast. I don't think I have I? Shit, what's the time? Mark, 19 minutes. Yes, we're on, we're back on. If that's the road there, which I'm not actually sure it is, guys. It might have been, do you reckon?
I think you're a couple hundred meters.
There's another
left.
road here. Oh, I can't use these roads, guys. I don't think these roads are shown. Let's just...
Don't worry. You're just a couple hundred meters left.
Roger. Hang on, I've just messed my goddamn heading up to my douche. Get back on the power now. It's having a bit of a moment. Fighting the plane. Okay, back on heading. Getting back up to speed. 20 minutes, we should easily see the runway, and we're mark. Oh, not quite. Pop up to 8 VFR. Mark. 20 minutes. Up to 500 feet. Check for the runway. Ah, perfect, guys. Look at that. Did you see that? Now, 20 knot crosswind landing. VFR now. Off the power. Start working flaps down. Get rid of my controls. Have I got my canopy? I have. We've got my canopy over Mark.
It's a nice day.
It is a nice day. Nice day for navigation. I can't remember what speed I'm landing this thing, so I'll just do it by feel. Sure, it'll be fine. Get down. A bit slow for my liking. No, I'm a bit fast actually. Just double check my gear. Yes, they are. Right, let's try and get this crab landing right. So I'm going to rudder at the last minute. That's just how I fly it. It's probably not the right way of doing it, but...
Now you click it straight just before touchdown.
Oh, good. That's the only way I can land a crosswind. Okay, so I'm going to kick left and pitch up. Kick left, pitch up, kicked. Not too early, curb. I'm going to stall. I'm okay. Brakes, 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 brakes. Yeah, guys. Woo! And relax. Wow, that was hard.
Good job, Cap.
So we got there. I mean, that was a lot of workload going through my head. I was never really... Oh, I was certainly never relaxed, put it that way. I was always worrying about what's coming up next, what's coming up next, what can I see, what can I, you know, what's going to adjust, how can I get the track better? So it was, is that what it's like? Is that what it's like in the real plane?
Yeah, if you're sort of thinking, if you start looking behind, you're losing. If your brain's way ahead out front, that's what you need.
So that's literally how you've got to fly. You're never going to be in the moment, which is interesting. So that's a high workload. Now I got plus 9 seconds bombs on target, and that's just because I just accumulated too much error by the end there. What would a real RAF...
That's perfectly acceptable. That's perfectly acceptable.
Would that be okay?
It's okay. Remember, you'd basically deconflict the bombs by about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So each guy's got about 7 or 8 seconds flex either way, and you're not going to die.
Brilliant. I'm really happy with that, guys. I literally... That's the peak of my skill at the moment, and it's got a long way to go. Out of interest, guys, so go and do that. We've got the mission and all of the e-boards, everything's available for you to download. I will link it in the video description so you can go and do it yourself. See if you can do better than me, and don't cheat. But if you get lost, don't do your F10 menu. Where is it? Don't do that. Just start again, because this is milsim at this point, and we don't cheat in milsim. Out of interest, we've got a whole campaign coming up in about a month that is going to be based on this milsim VFR Dead Reckoning with ToT. So we're going to teach a few pilots how to do this, and hopefully we should get some really interesting stuff. Any final thoughts?
It's down to practice, familiarisation. And getting into the routine of doing it.
I cheated. I had a practice over the weekend on Saturday. I got a little bit of time. I snuck on to come and have a practice, and the difference it made with the practice is because I built up just a tiny bit of muscle memory. I don't know if you noticed, guys, between when we did our trial one before the weekend and this after the weekend, I could really do the math a lot easier, do those ratios and those coefficients, which is, I think, it's really interesting.
Cap, thinking ahead to when we do this for the campaign, one of the things we will be doing is the flight plan you will know in advance. You won't know the wind until the actual briefing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to have to be done. So we're going to do a flight plan for now, but the wind is going to be set by a guy randomly before the mission, and we've got to do everything ad hoc. All these calculations, and here's the interesting thing: we get it wrong, that's the mission over. We can't just boom and go and find a target like we normally do. We have to, it'll be the mission over. So we've got to do a lot of practice in that. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you guys later.